Hello and happy Friday to you. Good afternoon. It is Brandon Devnich from i3D Themes with this week's interactive number 92, where we share what we're passionate about and what we've been working on in the i3D Themes Design and Code Labs. So I'm a dad. I have young children. I love dad jokes. My kids not so much, but I've got one I want to share with you, okay? Why did the ballerina cross the road? To get to the other side. Isn't that great? Why did the ballerina install Pegasus Accelerator? Well, to improve her conversion rate, to get a better page rank, to reduce her bounce rate, to reduce her pay-per-click costs. All joking aside, these are some of the reasons why people install Pegasus Accelerator. Is to improve your page rank, your Google page rank, so that people can find you, to reduce the bounce rate, your pages load faster, they're not bugging off, you're reducing your pay-per-click costs because your pages load faster, and so Google Google pay-per-click will give you a better page quality score. There's a number of different reasons why you would need to install Pegasus. And we've been working on this. Everybody here has been working on Pegasus this week. Colin's been working on the updated Pegasus.com website. Adam's been working on improvements to some of the data underneath the hood. I've been working on the Pegasus interface. Now, this is the Pegasus interface version 1.9. Currently, the stable release that's out there is 1.8.0. We've actually had no patches in the last week or so, so pretty exciting. This is the updated interface. Now, if you are one of those that have Pegasus installed, you'll say, what's that all about? That looks quite a bit different in the top section. We're really making it all about the dashboard and about how accelerated your site is and all the different stuff about how fast your website is. So, how many pages are accelerated, how well they're accelerated, all integrated into a summary up at the top of the dashboard there. It's very exciting, and it's moving us closer to Pegasus 2.0, where we're going to be sharing even more data about how well your pages have improved. But one of the things this week, there was a recent Google Hangout, and they were talking about the upcoming changes to the ranking algorithm. And John Mueller of Google stated something very interesting. He said, small improvements to your page speed, your load time of your pages, will impact the page rank and how well it's doing in the search engine result pages. Hold on now. That's different from what was kind of stated in the Google Webmaster blog back in February when they announced that there was going to be this speed signal that's going to be folded into the ranking algorithm. Back then they said only the slowest web pages are going to be affected. So now he's saying that maybe even moderately fast websites, if you make improvements still, can improve your page rank. So that basically is saying how fast in seconds is your page rank. And if it's at a certain, if it's not, like 2 seconds or even 1 second or 0 second load, then there is improvements that could be made. This is exciting. This means that even web pages that are moderately fast, that maybe load between the 5 and 7 second mark, can see improvements. And in fact, there are improvements that can be made. In fact, many of our clients have had websites that load in at 5 to 7 seconds, and we've gotten them down to 2 seconds. And so it just goes to show you that Google's always tweaking what they're doing, and they're going to be hopefully bringing that in, they've said, by the end of July. Still working on that, apparently. But what is the slowest of websites? This is something that it's a very vague concept. What is the slowest website out there? Or, the slowest of websites as far as Google and their page speed signal is all about? Okay, so think about it like this. Prior to 2002, most web pages really were just text and maybe a little bit of CSS and a couple images here and there. I remember the first web page that I made in college back in 2002, very basic. And back then, you really wanted to watch how many images you had going on a page. And we started putting Flash in pages. Even the biggest Flash page, that had a preloader, it was preloading because it was taking a while to load in these 200, 300, 400 kilobyte images. Why? Because the internet was slower back then. Our computers were slower. We had less RAM in our processing, our CPUs, and it just took longer. But you take those same web pages now and they are fast. Why? Well, there's not as many images. Also, the images are not as large. We don't have full screen hero sliders, but something else. Back then we might have had one, maybe two style sheets and maybe a JavaScript file. Now, because Apple won the war against Flash, and rightfully so, it wasn't mobile friendly, but because of that we replaced that dynamic action in the page with JavaScript libraries such as jQuery or MooTools, and then different frameworks on top of that for mobile responsiveness such as Bootstrap. And when you tally up all of those things, it comes to more than the size of the Flash file, and it takes longer. And in many web pages and many websites such as those with WordPress, and there's different plugins, they enqueue into the page JavaScript file after JavaScript file. And so it takes longer because those are render blocking resources that need to load before the page is rendered. Whereas back in those pages from like the early 2000s, those pages now, if you can find one web page that has not been modified and made mobile responsive, but those web pages load very, very fast. I was shocked when I loaded up one of our old templates and went, wow, how come it's loaded so fast? Why does it have such a great page speed score? Because it has nothing in it, like virtually nothing. And it takes very little to optimize those pages. It's the pages that were developed in the last 10 years that have all these different JavaScript libraries, and we've gone to large hero sliders, and it's all, we need to make them mobile responsive, so there's a lot of technology going on in the background to make these websites respond better. But it means that they're slower. If you think about it like this is actually pretty funny. Well, not for me, but looking at it, I had a technician out to service the internet connection from our ISP. Thought something hinky was going on. Turns out it was just something in my head. Actually, it was Chrome. Chrome was slowing down my entire internet connection. There was something going on in the background. Besides that, though, once we figured out what was going on, I said, like the speed that I was getting was like 3G speeds. I said, he says, well, what have you got? I said, well, I got an LTE. And, it's got an iPhone 7. So I said, well, let's go to fast.com and check to see how fast our mobile speed is. He was a different carrier. He was running an Android phone, and I don't know if it had anything to do with the antenna or if it had to do with his carrier. But I was getting about 3 megabit per second down. I'm thinking, okay, that's probably what I need to be getting, right? No, he was getting 100 megabit down, and he was on an LTE connection as I was on an LTE connection. So it depends on how close you are to the cell tower and your antenna and your hardware, how fast a connection you're going to get. Not everybody's going to be getting the 100 megabits per second down, right? Well, most of the world is on a 3G connection, so they're going to be getting speeds of like 2, maybe 3, maybe down. And so when you have a web page, and that's considerably slower than a desktop computer, right? And when you have a web page that takes 5 to 7 seconds to load, which is a moderately fast load overall, it's going to take like 2 to 3 times as long to load. And can you imagine being on your cell phone and waiting 15 to 20 seconds for a page to load? Now that's a slow website, and that's when between 50 and 60% of the searches through Google are done on a mobile device, globally speaking. If your website is not both mobile responsive and loading fast, Google's going to be looking on your pages as being, maybe you have some room for improvement here. There's a speed update coming. Make small changes, you'll see improvement. And if your competition is not making those same improvements, then you can get a leg up. Anyways, so that's what we've been working on here this week. Pegasus, making websites faster, just with the click of a button. Basically install this beauty back here and sit back and go grab a coffee. It does it all for you. There's no thinking involved. It does image optimization, CDN integration. It makes the web pages load fast. It has built-in caching. It is a bundle of joy. And I wish we had it for non-WordPress sites as well. That's in the plan. That's in the roadmap. But it is a WordPress plugin currently. and it does very, very well. Like I said, we take web pages that sometimes take 15 seconds to load, and we can get them down to 2 or 3 seconds. I even had somebody with a website on WordPress. He was sub 1 second. He was under a second for his load time. How is that even possible? It's pretty incredible. Anyways, hope you've had a fantastic week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have a fast website, congratulations. You should be good here going through July. If you have a moderately fast website, there possibly is some room for improvement. And if you have a slow website, give us a call. We can help you. Talk to you again next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe and stay out of the heat. All right, bye-bye.